Chapter 1 First Contact. The massive alien ship hung in space like a dark cloud over Earth. On its command bridge, Supreme Commander Tahoe looked at the blue planet on the main screen. "Such a beautiful world," he said, "rich in minerals and water." His second-in-command, Colonel Jinwoo, nodded. "The humans have barely left their planet. Their technology is primitive by our standards." Tahoe smiled. The Galactic Confederation needed new mining colonies. Earth was perfect. Humans would make good workers too. "Begin the standard procedure," Tahoe ordered. "First, we send gifts. Then we offer friendship. Finally, we take what we want." "Yes, Supreme Commander," said Jinwoo with a bow. "I will lead the diplomatic mission myself." Tahoe turned back to the screen. In his 300 years leading Confederation forces, he had conquered many worlds. Earth would be no different. Dr. Hyun stood at the window of his lab at Seoul National University, staring at the night sky. Last week, strange signals had been detected coming from near the moon. Today, world leaders announced that aliens had arrived. His phone rang. It was the president's office. "Dr. Hyun, we need you at the United Nations emergency meeting tomorrow. As our leading physicist, your insights will be valuable." 24 hours later, Dr. Hyun sat in the human building as the alien delegation walked in. Their leader, who called himself Colonel Jinwoo, looked almost human except for his silver skin and eyes with vertical pupils. "People of Earth," Jinwoo said through a translation device, "the Galactic Confederation welcomes you. We bring gifts of knowledge and technology." Dr. Hyun watched as Jinwoo presented devices that could cure diseases, clean pollution, and generate unlimited energy. The world leaders clapped and smiled, but something didn't feel right to Dr. Hyun. When it was his turn to speak, he asked, "What does the Confederation want in return?" Jinwoo smiled. "Just friendship and cultural exchange. Earth has unique art and music that fascinates us." Dr. Hyun didn't believe him. Chapter 2 False Diplomacy. Over the next month, Colonel Jinwoo met with leaders from every major country. He gave them technology and promised more. Most were eager to work with the aliens. Dr. Hyun was appointed to the Earth Confederation science team. He worked with alien scientists who taught him about their technology, but they never explained how it worked, only how to use it. One night, working late in the lab, Dr. Hyun noticed a strange signal coming from the alien communication device. He wasn't supposed to touch it, but curiosity won. Using his knowledge of physics, he managed to decode some of the messages. What he read made his blood freeze. "Earth defense is minimal. Military forces can be neutralized in 48 hours. Mining operations can begin in selected regions within 1 week. Population control measures ready." Dr. Hyun copied the data and ran. When he reached the president's office the next morning, he found alien guards at the door. "The president is in meetings all day," they said. Dr. Hyun knew he was running out of time. On the alien mothership, Tahoe received Jinwoo's report. "Earth leaders are cooperating fully," Jinwoo said. "They believe our story about cultural exchange." "Excellent," said Tahoe. "How long until our military forces are in position?" 3 more days, Supreme Commander. We have hidden bases on their moon now. Our ships are stationed behind their planet, out of sight." "Begin the attack on schedule," ordered Tahoe. "I want minimal damage to mining regions." Jinwoo bowed. "What about the humans who resist?" Tahoe waved his hand. "The usual procedure. Those who surrender work in the mines. Those who'd fight are eliminated." Chapter 3 The Betrayal. Dr. Hyun couldn't get to any world leaders, but he managed to contact General Sunho of the Korean military. Sunho was one of the few who had been suspicious of the aliens from the start. "I need proof," said Sunho after hearing Dr. Hyun's story. Dr. Hyun showed him the decoded messages. Sunho's face turned grim. "We have 72 hours at most," said the general. "I'll contact allies I trust, but many governments are completely under the aliens' influence now." They worked through the night, contacting military leaders who might listen. Some did, most didn't. Dr. Hyun also started downloading as much alien technical data as he could. If Earth was going to have any chance, they needed to understand Confederation technology. On the third day, At exactly 3 o'clock a.m. global time, it began. Dr. Hyun was in General Sun Ho's underground bunker when the first reports came in. Massive alien ships appeared over major cities worldwide. Before any defense could be mounted, they fired. New York, London, Beijing, Delhi, all reported devastating attacks, then went silent. They're targeting military installations and government centers first, said Sun Ho, looking at the incoming data. Civilian casualties are already in the millions. Dr. Hyun stared at the screens in horror. What about the world leaders who worked with them? A communications officer spoke up. Sir, we just received word that the entire UN delegation was arrested by alien forces. Those who resisted were executed on the spot. Sun Ho's phone rang. It was the president. Get to the emergency facility under Baekdu Mountain, the president ordered. Bring Dr. Hyun and anyone else who might be useful. This is not a battle we can win today. As they prepared to leave, Sun Ho looked at Dr. Hyun. Did you get enough of their technology data? Dr. Hyun patted his bag, which contained several hard drives. Yes, but it will take years to understand it all. We may not have years, replied Sun Ho. The attack was brutal and efficient. Within 24 hours, every major military force on Earth was defeated. Government buildings were destroyed or occupied. Any resistance was met with overwhelming force. Colonel Jinwoo stood in what was left of the White House, giving orders to his troops. Secure all major resource areas. Begins setting up mining operations in Africa, Australia, and South America. Start population processing centers in each region. His communication device beeped. It was Supreme Commander Taiho. Report, Colonel. Earth is 90% under control, Supreme Commander. There are some human military forces hiding in remote areas, but they'd pose no real threat. We've captured most world leaders. Any notable resistance? Jinwoo hesitated. There's a group that escaped from Korea. Intelligence suggests they have some understanding of our technology. They're led by a military commander named Sun Ho and a scientist named Hyun. Taiho's expression darkened. Find them. The longer they remain free, the more dangerous they become. Humans are adaptive. Given time, they might learn to use our weapons against us. Yes, Supreme Commander. I'll make it my personal mission. Deep under Baekdu Mountain, in a facility built for nuclear war, the remains of South Korea's government gathered with military leaders from other nations who had escaped the initial attack. Dr. Hyun connected his drives to the facility's computers. I have data on their weapons, ships, and communication systems. With time, we can learn how they work and how to counter them. General Sun Ho, now the highest-ranking military officer present, addressed the room. Today we suffered a devastating defeat, but this is not the end. It's just the beginning of a new kind of war. The president looked exhausted but determined. What do you propose, General? We go underground. We gather survivors. We learn their technology. And when they think they've won, when they've become comfortable ruling our world, we strike back. Dr. Hyun nodded. I'll need a team of our best scientists and engineers. You'll have it, promised the president. But how long will it take? Dr. Hyun looked at the alien data scrolling across his screen. 5 years, maybe less if we're lucky. 5 years, repeated Sun Ho. 5 years of hiding. 5 years of watching our people suffer under alien rule. His face hardened. And then we show them that attacking Earth was the worst mistake they ever made. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Outside, in the world above, humanity was facing its darkest hour. But in this room, the seeds of resistance were being planted. Seeds that would grow into a force so terrible that one day the entire galaxy would tremble at the mere mention of humanity. Chapter 4. Underground. 5 years passed under alien rule. The Confederation turned Earth's richest lands into mining operations. Humans worked as slaves, digging up metals and minerals that were shipped to distant worlds. In the hidden base beneath Baekdu Mountain, Dr. Hyun hadn't seen the sun in years. His lab was filled with alien technology in various stages of being taken apart and rebuilt. Dark circles marked his eyes, but they shone with fierce determination. Admiral Sun Ho is here to see you, said his assistant. Sun Ho entered, now wearing the rank of admiral in the newly formed Earth Defense Force. The past 5 years had turned his hair gray, and a long scar ran down the side of his face. "How is the new weapon coming along?" asked Sunho. Dr. Hyun pointed to a rifle-like device on his workbench. "It works. We can now disable their personal shields. One shot will take down an alien soldier." Sunho picked up the weapon, testing its weight. "How many can you make?" "With our current resources, maybe 500. Sunho frowned. "We need thousands." "Then we need more resources," said Dr. Hyun, "and better production facilities." "That's why I'm here," said Sunho. "We're planning our first major operation, a raid on their moon base to capture ships and equipment." Dr. Hyun looked surprised. "The moon base has their best security. How will you get past their detection systems?" Sunho smiled for the first time. "That's why I want you to meet someone." He motioned to the door, and a young woman walked in. She looked barely 20, with short hair and intelligent eyes. "This is Mina. She was an engineering student when the invasion happened. For the past 3 years, she's been working on a way to beat alien sensors." Mina bowed slightly to Dr. Hyun. "I studied your work on Confederation technology. I think I found a way to hide our ships from their detection grid." "Show me," said Dr. Hyun. Mina placed a small device on the table and activated it. All the electronic equipment in the room flickered and went dark for a moment before coming back online. "What did you do?" asked Dr. Hyun, checking his computers. "I created a field that absorbs and redirects scanner waves," explained Mina. "Their sensors still work, but they don't see what's inside the field." Dr. Hyun's eyes widened. "Incredible. With this, we could move ships right up to their bases without being detected." "Exactly," said Sunho. "And that's what we're going to do." Chapter 5, The First Victory. 2 weeks later, 3 small human ships approached the dark side of the moon. They were coupled together from stolen alien parts and Earth technology. Each carried 20 soldiers armed with Dr. Hyun's new weapons. Admiral Sunho led the mission from the first ship. Mina sat next to him, monitoring her stealth device. "Status?" asked Sunho. "Stealth field holding," replied Mina. "Their sensors are active but not detecting us." Sunho nodded and spoke into his radio. "All teams prepare for landing. Remember, our primary objective is to capture intact ships and technology. Secondary objective is to free human workers." The 3 ships landed half a mile from the Confederation moon base. Soldiers in spacesuits moved quickly across the lunar surface, using the low gravity to make long, fast jumps. Inside the base, Colonel Jinwoo, now a general, was reviewing mining reports when alarms suddenly blared. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Intruders inside the base," shouted a security officer. "They appeared out of nowhere." "Impossible," said Jinwoo. "Our sensors would have detected any approach." An explosion rocked the base. Jinwoo grabbed his weapon. "Send all security forces to defend the hangar. Those ships cannot fall into human hands." But it was too late. Sunho's team had already breached the hangar. Dr. Hyun's weapons worked perfectly, disabling alien shields and cutting through their armor. Mina ran to the nearest alien shuttle, a sleek craft 3 times the size of their own ships. "I can fly this," she called to Sunho after examining the controls. "They're similar to the systems we studied." Sunho nodded and turned to his soldiers. "Team 1, secure these ships. Team 2, with me to free the prisoners." They fought their way to the detention area where hundreds of humans were kept as workers for the base. The prisoners stared in shock as human soldiers in makeshift armor burst in. "We're from Earth Defense Force," Sunho told them. "We're here to take you home." One thin man stepped forward. "Home? There's nothing left of our homes." "Then we'll make new ones," replied Sunho. "And then we'll take back what's ours." Meanwhile, Jinwoo and his forces were closing in. "We have them trapped in the detention block," reported an officer. Jinwoo smiled cruelly. "Good. Kill them all, prisoners included, no survivors." But just as his forces prepared to attack, the lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red. "What now?" demanded Jinwoo. "Someone's hacked our systems," said an officer. "All doors are opening and closing randomly. Life support is fluctuating." In the control room, Mina worked furiously at an alien console. "I'm in their system," she radioed to Sunho. I've created a path back to the hangar. You have 3 minutes before I have to abandon the console." "On our way," replied Sunho. All teams moved to extraction point. The freed prisoners and soldiers raced through the base's corridors, following Mina's directions. Alien forces were thrown into confusion by doors locking and unlocking at random and life support failing in some sections. By the time Jinwoo realized what was happening, the humans had reached the hangar. 3 captured alien shuttles, plus their original ships, launched from the moon base. "Shoot them down," ordered Jinwoo. The base's defense weapons fired, destroying one of the smaller human ships, but the alien shuttles, protected by their own shields, escaped. As the ships disappeared from sensors, Jinwoo knew his career might be over. Supreme Commander Taiho did not tolerate failure. Chapter 6, Building an Army. The raid on the moon base changed everything. For the first time, humans had alien ships that could travel beyond Earth. The captured shuttles contained navigation data for the entire solar system. Most importantly, they now had proof that humans could fight back and win. In the weeks that followed, resistance cells around the world received news of the victory. More people joined the fight and hidden bases became active. Deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Admiral Sunho established a new base. Here, far from Earth and Confederation patrols, humans could build ships and train soldiers. Dr. Hyun set up a new lab, working with the wealth of technology they had captured. "These ships can teach us so much," he told Sunho. "Their weapons, their engines, their communication systems." Mina worked alongside him, focusing on the stealth technology that had made their victory possible. "We can make it better," she said. "Longer lasting, covering larger ships." Sunho spent his days training recruits. His methods were harsh, but effective. "The aliens won't show mercy," he told them. "So neither will we." The training was brutal. Recruits learned to fight in zero gravity and to use captured alien weapons. Those who couldn't keep up were sent back to Earth to join ground resistance units. 3 months after the moon base raid, they made contact with another surprise. They weren't the only species fighting the Confederation. A damaged ship drifted into their sensor range. It wasn't Confederation design. When they brought it in, they found 4 aliens inside, different from the Confederation species. They had blue skin and 4 arms each. "We are Nirans," said their leader through a translation device. "Our world was taken by the Confederation 50 years ago. We fight them too." "How did you find us?" asked Sunho suspiciously. "We didn't," replied the Niran. "We were running from a Confederation patrol and found your base by accident. But this meeting could benefit us both." The Nirans shared their knowledge of Confederation space and other worlds under their control. They were amazed by Mina's stealth technology. "With this, we could strike at their supply lines," said the Niran leader. Sunho considered the possibilities. "An alliance then. We share technology and intelligence." As the Nirans integrated with the human resistance, Sunho met with his officers. "The time for hiding is over," he told them. "It's time to take the fight to the enemy, not just on Earth, but throughout our solar system." He unfolded a map of Earth. "Our first target will be their main control center in what used to be Geneva. We'll strike simultaneously at all Confederation bases on Earth." Dr. Hyun looked concerned. "Our forces are still small compared to theirs." "Numbers aren't everything," replied Sunho. "We have surprise, we have stealth, and we have something they don't understand." "What's that?" asked Mina. Sunho's eyes were cold. "The absolute certainty that we have nothing left to lose." Chapter 7, Operation Thunderstrike. 6 months of planning led to this moment. Admiral Sunho stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching as hundreds of small fighter craft launched from their hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt. Each one carried the stealth technology Mina had perfected. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said his communications officer. Sunho nodded. "Send the signal. Operation Thunderstrike begins now." Across the solar system, human forces moved toward every major Confederation base simultaneously. Their target was not just the main control center in Geneva, but every alien installation on Earth, Mars, and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. In Geneva, General Jinwoo sat in his luxurious office. The view outside showed human slaves building new Confederation structures. 5 years of ruling Earth had made him comfortable. The human resistance was a nuisance, nothing more. His aide rushed in without knocking. "General, our outposts across the planet are under attack." Jinwoo stood up quickly. "How many resistance fighters?" "That's the problem, sir. They're not just ground forces. They have ships. Hundreds of them. And our sensors didn't detect them until they opened fire." Jinwoo's face paled. "Order all forces to battle stations. Call for reinforcements from Mars base." The aide looked even more worried. "Sir, Mars base is not responding. Neither are the mining stations on Jupiter's moons." For the first time in his military career, Jinwoo felt real fear. Mina led the attack on the Geneva headquarters herself. Her ship touched down on the roof of the main building. 20 elite soldiers jumped out behind her. "Remember," she told them, "capture General Jinwoo alive if possible. We need the information in his head." They'd fought their way down through the building. Confederation soldiers fell quickly to the new weapons Dr. Hyun had designed. These weren't just the shield disruptors from before, but weapons that could penetrate their armor too. In his office, Jinwoo grabbed his personal weapon and prepared to evacuate. But as he opened his door, he found himself face to face with Mina and her team. "Hello, General," she said, her weapon pointed at his head. "Admiral Sunho would like to speak with you." Across the solar system, the pattern was the same. Human ships appeared without warning. Their attacks were precisely targeted and overwhelming. Unlike the Confederation forces, who tried to disable infrastructure during their invasion, the humans simply destroyed everything. Any Confederation ship that tried to escape was hunted down. Any alien who surrendered was taken prisoner. Those who fought were killed without mercy. By the end of the day, Earth was free of Confederation control for the first time in 5 years. The alien bases on Mars and the outer moons had been reduced to rubble. In the command center of the asteroid base, Dr. Hyun watched the reports come in. "Casualties?" he asked. "Minimal on our side," replied an officer. The stealth approach worked perfectly. Most bases were hit before they could organize a defense. Dr. Hyun nodded, but his expression remained troubled. "And the alien casualties?" "Near total, except for the prisoners we took." Admiral Sunho entered the room, pushing General Jinwoo ahead of him. The alien's hands were bound, and he had a defeated look on his face. "Take him to interrogation," Sunho ordered. "I want everything he knows about Confederation defenses, fleet positions, and homeworlds." As guards took Jinwoo away, Sunho turned to Dr. Hyun. "We did it. Earth is free." "Yes," agreed Dr. Hyun. "But what now? Do we rebuild? Try to return to normal life?" Sunho's eyes hardened. "There is no going back to normal, not after what they did to us." He looked at the star map on the wall. "This isn't over. It's just beginning." Chapter 8, The Human Armada. 1 year after Operation Thunderstrike, Earth was transformed. The former Confederation bases had been converted to human use. Factories that once produced goods for alien worlds now built weapons and ships. President Junwoo, formerly a resistance leader, addressed the New Earth Alliance from the rebuilt United Nations building in New York. "For 5 years, we suffered under alien rule. We saw our cities destroyed, our people enslaved, our resources stolen. Now we have a choice. We can rebuild our world and hope the Confederation leaves us alone, or we can make sure they never threaten us again." The vote was unanimous. Earth would take the fight to the stars. In his new lab in orbit around Earth, Dr. Hyun made a breakthrough that would change everything. He had been studying the Confederation faster-than-light drive, trying to understand how it worked. "I've improved it," he told Admiral Sunho and Mina. "Their ships can travel 5 light years in one jump. With my modifications, we can travel 20. Sunho understood immediately what this meant. "We can hit their core worlds before they even know we're coming." "Exactly," said Dr. Hyun. "But there's more. I found a way to track their ship movements through FTL. We'll always know where they are, but they won't know where we are." Mina studied the design. "We can build this into all our new ships." Dr. Hyun nodded. "It's already in production." With this advantage, the newly formed Earth fleet prepared for war. Massive shipyards orbited Earth and Mars, building vessels of all sizes. Each incorporated Dr. Hyun's improved FTL drive and Mina's stealth technology. Admiral Sun Ho was named Supreme Commander of all Earth forces. His strategy was clear and brutal: attack Confederation worlds without warning, destroy their military capabilities, and offer them a simple choice: join the Earth Alliance or face destruction. The first target was a minor Confederation colony world called Vega Prime. The planet had minimal defenses as it was deep in Confederation space, far from any potential enemies. When 50 Earth warships appeared in orbit, the colony's governor immediately surrendered. The human fleet took control of the planet without firing a shot. The next target, however, was different. Sirius I was a major military hub with orbital defenses and a large fleet of ships. "This will be our statement to the galaxy," Sun Ho told his fleet commanders. "After today, the Confederation will know we are not just fighting for survival. We are fighting for revenge." The battle for Sirius I lasted just 6 hours. The Earth fleet appeared at multiple points around the planet simultaneously. The Confederation ships, caught by surprise, were destroyed before they could mount an effective defense. When the orbital defenses were gone, Sun Ho gave the colony 1 hour to surrender. They refused, believing reinforcements would arrive. Sun Ho gave the order without hesitation: target all military installations, government centers, and industrial facilities, weapons free. The bombardment was precise and devastating. By the time it was over, Sirius I's military capability was gone. The survivors quickly surrendered. News of the battle spread quickly through Confederation space. For the first time in its history, the Galactic Confederation faced an enemy that could strike anywhere, without warning, and with overwhelming force. Chapter 9. The Junwoo Doctrine. After the victory at Sirius II, President Junwoo issued what would become known as the Junwoo Doctrine. It was transmitted to every world in Confederation space. The people of Earth offer this message to all species under Confederation rule. 5 years ago, they came to our world with false promises. They enslaved us, killed millions, and stole our resources. Now, we have broken their chains. To the leadership of the Galactic Confederation of this: we will not stop until every member of your high command has been brought to justice. There will be no peace, no negotiations, no mercy. To those worlds suffering under Confederation rule, we offer an alternative. Join the Earth Alliance. Help us end their tyranny, and you will have Earth's protection and friendship. On many worlds, the message resonated. Species that had been conquered by the Confederation saw an opportunity for freedom. Some began to sabotage Confederation operations, while others openly rebelled. Supreme Commander Taiho, now aware of the serious threat Earth posed, called an emergency meeting of the High Command. "These humans have become more dangerous than we ever imagined," he said. "They've turned our own technology against us and improved upon it. Their tactics are unpredictable and brutal." "What do you propose, Supreme Commander?" asked one of the admirals. "We must gather our forces and crush them now, before more worlds join them," replied Taiho. "I'm recalling our fleets from the outer territories. We will meet this human threat with overwhelming force." But even as the Confederation prepared for war, Earth continued to strike. 3 more colony worlds fell in quick succession. Each time, the pattern was the same: appear without warning, destroy all military resistance, and give the survivors a choice: join Earth or face the consequences. Most chose to join. Admiral Sun Ho met with the new allies, representatives from 7 different species who had suffered under Confederation rule. Some had been fighting the Confederation for decades with little success. "Your stealth technology and improved FTL drives have changed everything," said a Neran admiral. "For the first time, we can fight back effectively." "Join your ships with ours," replied Sun Ho. "Together, we'll show the Confederation that their days of conquest are over." As the alliance grew, intelligence reports indicated that the Confederation was gathering a massive fleet at Proxima Centauri, the closest star system to Earth. Clearly, they planned to strike directly at humanity's homeworld. Admiral Sun Ho studied the reports and smiled grimly. "They're doing exactly what I hoped they would, gathering in one place where we can hit them all at once. It could be a trap, warned Mina, now a commander herself. Of course it is, agreed Sunho. But not for us. Chapter 10. The Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Confederation fleet at Proxima Centauri was the largest gathering of warships in galactic history. Over 500 vessels, from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts, waited in formation around the system's fourth planet. Supreme Commander Taiho stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the fleet displays with satisfaction. The humans will be destroyed when they arrive, he told his officers. Our sensors are set to detect their stealth technology. Our weapons are calibrated to penetrate their shields. We have 3 times their numbers. His second-in-command nodded. Intelligence reports they are preparing for a major attack. They should arrive within 2 days. Taiho smiled. Let them come. This time we are ready. What Taiho didn't know was that human ships were already in the system. They had been there for 3 days, hiding in the shadow of the system's outer planets and asteroids, watching and waiting. Admiral Sunho had deployed 200 ships, less than half the Confederation force, but he had no intention of fighting a fair battle. On his command ship, he addressed his fleet captains via secure communication. Today, we face the main Confederation fleet. Today, we show them that all their technology, all their numbers, mean nothing against human determination. He pointed to the tactical display showing the enemy fleet. They expect us to attack head-on. Instead, we will strike from all directions at once. Each ship has its assigned targets. Priority is their flagship and command vessels. Once their leadership is gone, the rest will fall apart. Commander Mina, now leading her own strike team, studied her targets. When do we begin, Admiral? Sunho checked the time. 1 hour. Just enough time for Dr. Hyun's new weapon to be ready. In the science bay of Sunho's ship, Dr. Hyun made final adjustments to a device the size of a small car. It was the result of 3 years of research combining Confederation technology with human innovation. It's ready, he reported. Once activated, it will create a localized disruption in spacetime. Their faster-than-light drives will fail. They won't be able to escape. Deploy it now, ordered Sunho. And may the spirits of everyone who died in the invasion watch over us today. The battle began without warning. Human ships deactivated their stealth systems and opened fire simultaneously from multiple positions around the Confederation fleet. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms blared as the first volley struck. We're under attack, shouted a tactical officer. Multiple targets appearing all around us. Taiho stared in disbelief at the displays. Impossible. Our sensors were supposed to detect them. Sir, they weren't using stealth. They were physically hiding behind planetary bodies and asteroids. Basic concealment, not technology. Taiho's face darkened with rage. Return fire. Launch all fighters. Prepare for FTL jump if necessary. But when ships attempted to jump to FTL, their drives failed. Sir, FTL systems are not responding. Something is blocking them. The Confederation fleet, designed for coordinated action, fell into chaos. Human ships darted between the larger alien vessels, firing with precision at engines, weapons, and command centers. Mina led a squadron of small, fast attack craft directly at the Eternal Dominion. Target their bridge, she ordered. Take out their leadership. Her ships fired a concentrated barrage that overwhelmed the flagship's forward shields. As the shields fell, a second volley struck the command tower. On the bridge, Taiho was thrown to the floor as explosions ripped through the ship. Half his command staff were dead, and fires burned across the bridge. Get me to an escape pod, he ordered his remaining guards. We must regroup elsewhere. As they dragged him toward an evacuation area, another hit rocked the ship. The lights went out, replaced by emergency red glow. Outside, the battle continued. Despite being outnumbered, the human fleet was winning. Their tactics were unlike anything the Confederation had faced before. Instead of maintaining formation, human ships moved unpredictably, attacking and retreating, focusing fire on key targets, then quickly moving to new ones. After 4 hours of intense fighting, more than half the Confederation fleet was destroyed or disabled. The rest was surrounded, unable to escape due to Dr. Hyun's FTL inhibitor. Admiral Sunho opened a channel to all remaining enemy ships. This is Admiral Sunho of the Earth Alliance. Your fleet is defeated. Your leadership is dead or captured. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to the laws of war. Resist, and you will be destroyed. One by one, the remaining Confederation ships powered down their weapons. The Battle of Proxima Centauri was over. The greatest fleet in Confederation history had been defeated by a smaller force using surprise, unconventional tactics, and pure determination. But Supreme Commander Taiho was not among the captured. His escape pod had launched during the confusion, equipped with an experimental drive that could function despite the FTL inhibitor. He was heading for the Confederation homeworld, determined to raise a new fleet. Chapter 11 The Hunt for Taiho. News of the victory at Proxima Centauri spread quickly across the galaxy. More worlds rose up against Confederation rule, and more alien species joined the Earth Alliance. But Admiral Sunho knew the war wasn't over until Taiho was captured. He'll try to rebuild his forces, he told President Junwu during a secure call. We need to finish this now. How? Asked Junwu. The Confederation homeworld has the strongest defenses in the galaxy. We'll find a way, promised Sunho. We always do. The answer came from an unexpected source. Among the captured Confederation officers was a high-ranking intelligence agent who had grown disgusted with his government's actions. In exchange for asylum on Earth, he provided detailed information about the Confederation homeworld's defenses. More importantly, he revealed a shocking truth. The ruling species of the Confederation had built their society on the enslavement of dozens of other species. Billions of beings lived in forced labor camps across their core worlds, working in terrible conditions to support the Confederation's expansion. When Commander Mina learned this, she volunteered to lead a special mission. Let me take a small team to the homeworld, she told Sunho. We can infiltrate using their own security codes, find Taiho, and disable their main defenses for the fleet to attack. Sunho hesitated. It's too dangerous. Even with stealth and inside information, you might be captured. We have to try, insisted Mina. Every day Taiho remains free, more beings suffer. Finally, Sunho agreed. Mina selected a team of 20 elite operatives, both human and aliens from species that could pass as Confederation citizens. They traveled to the homeworld in a captured Confederation scout ship, using security codes that gave them clearance to land at a minor spaceport far from the capital. Once on the ground, they split into smaller groups. Mina led the team heading for the government district, where intelligence suggested Taiho was organizing a last-ditch defense. What they found shocked even veteran soldiers. The gleaming towers of the Confederation capital were built and maintained by slaves from conquered worlds. Some species had been enslaved for centuries, their children born into bondage, never knowing freedom. We need to help them, whispered one of Mina's team, watching as guards whipped alien workers. The best way to help is to complete our mission, replied Mina. Once we take down the planetary shields, the fleet can land troops to free everyone. But as they neared the government district, they were spotted by a patrol. A fierce firefight broke out, alerting all security forces in the area. Mina made a quick decision. Change of plans. We go for the shield generators now. Forget stealth. We fight our way through. Her team babbled across the city, freeing slaves as they went. Many joined them, grabbing weapons from fallen guards and turning on their former masters. What began as a covert operation became an open rebellion. By the time they reached the main shield generator, Mina's force had grown to hundreds of fighters from a dozen different species. Plant the explosives, she ordered as they secured the facility. Then contact the fleet. Tell them to be ready to jump in as soon as the shields fall. Chapter 12 The Final Confrontation. Supreme Commander Taiho watched in horror as reports came in from across the capital. Slaves were revolting everywhere. The shield generators were under attack. And worst of all, the human fleet had been detected approaching the system. How did they find us so quickly? He demanded of his generals. How did they penetrate our security? No one had answers. The Confederation, used to being the supreme power in the galaxy, had never prepared for this kind of threat. Taiho made his final decision. Prepare my personal ship. We will retreat to our secret base in the galactic rim and rebuild from there. But as he headed for the landing pad, the building shook violently. Outside, he could see smoke rising from the shield generator complex. Moments later, alarms sounded throughout the city as the planetary shields failed. In orbit, Admiral Sunho gave the order as soon as the shields went down. All ships, commence Operation Earth Gambit. The Earth fleet appeared around the planet, not in battle formation, but in a spherical pattern that allowed them to target any point on the surface. Sunho opened a direct channel to the Confederation High Council. "This is Admiral Sunho of the Earth Alliance. Your shields are down. Your military is in disarray. Your slaves are in revolt. I offer you one chance. Unconditional surrender." On the surface, Taiho had reached his ship when Mina's team found him. A brief but intense firefight left his guards dead. "Supreme Commander Taiho," said Mina, her weapon pointed at his head. "On behalf of Earth and all the worlds you've conquered, you're under arrest." Taiho stared at her with hatred. "You think this ends with me? The Confederation has ruled for 10,000 years. We cannot be defeated by primitives who only left their own planet a few years ago." "Look around you," replied Mina. "You already have been." In the High Council chamber, the remaining Confederation leaders weighed their options. Their military was largely destroyed. Their slaves were revolting. And in orbit, the human fleet waited, weapons ready. "Perhaps we can negotiate," suggested one counselor. "Offer them technology, resources." "You don't understand these humans," replied another who had studied Earth. "They don't want our technology. They don't want our resources. They want revenge." In the end, they'd really had no choice. The Confederation, which had ruled a quarter of the galaxy for millennia, surrendered unconditionally to the human-led alliance. ###epilogue, Pax Humana. 5 years after the fall of the Confederation, the galaxy existed under what many called Pax Humana, the peace of humanity. The Earth Alliance had grown to include hundreds of worlds and dozens of species. The former Confederation species were not destroyed or enslaved as they had feared. Instead, they lived under strict human oversight, their military dismantled, their society rebuilt without slavery. Admiral Sunho, now retired, stood with Dr. Hyun and Commander Mina on a balcony overlooking the new Galactic Council building in Geneva. Representatives from every known species gathered there to discuss matters affecting the galaxy. "Did you ever imagine this?" asked Dr. Hyun, watching the diverse beings below. "When we were hiding under Baekdu Mountain, did you think we would end up here?" Sunho shook his head. "I only thought about survival then, about fighting back. And now we're the most powerful force in known space," said Mina. "Species that never even met us fear the name of Earth." "Is that a good thing?" wondered Dr. Hyun. Sunho looked out at the stars becoming visible as evening fell. "Fear keeps the peace, but it's what we do with that peace that will define us." Below them, 2 alien diplomats whispered to each other. "Remember the most important rule of galactic politics," said one. "Never provoke the humans." The other nodded solemnly. "I've visited their world. In their capital city, they have a simple memorial for those who died in the invasion. It says, 'For those we lost in the first days, we brought the reckoning they deserved.'" Both aliens shuddered slightly and moved away to join the main gathering. From conquerors to conquered, from victims to victors, humanity's journey had transformed the galaxy forever. And throughout countless worlds, across vast distances of space, one truth was universally acknowledged. Earth was not to be trifled with. For the name of humanity, once barely known beyond one small blue planet, now echoed among the stars as both protector and avenger, a name that inspired hope in allies and terror in enemies. A name that would be remembered for as long as the stars burned in the night sky.